Glad you could join me again today. We're going to talk about building trust. And trust seems to be something that's so missing today, so hard to find, doesn't it? With all the political maneuvering and upheaval and the election promises and failures and all these different things, it just leaves us not knowing where to turn. And even people sometimes have grown so mistrusting. They don't trust teachers, they don't trust doctors, and it just keeps us looking at each other even with suspicion, wondering, are they really telling me the truth? Do they really feel that way, or can I even trust them? Those kind of questions are in the back of our mind all the time, and even more as we see the invasive thrust of social media. And sadly, we're in a society where trust has been lost. But for you and I, especially as we are Christians, trust should be a part of our faith, and even more so, it should be a part of our character. So we're going to talk a bit today about how we can build trust with others. And sometimes these are things that people have just not learned. They're things that our grandparents would have taught us, but they've just not been taught today. And so it's not a bad idea for us to go back and think about how can we build trust? How can we be a trustworthy person? What actions help others to learn to trust us, and how we can build trust? Because it's important. Trust builds social stability, solid relationships. It's a sign of character, but it also is good for our mental health when we know that we have done right. And being a good person holds great benefits. And we could go through loads of scriptures to prove that point. But for today, because it's kind of long, we're going to look at 12 ways that we can build trust with others, 12 things that we can do, not blaming anybody else, taking it upon ourselves to build trust. So the first thing that we can do is that we need to be people who honor commitments, people who keep their word. The Bible talks about vows. It says it's better not to make a vow than it is to make a vow and not keep it. So that means that when you make a promise, you should keep it. There's even a little phrase in Psalm 15 and verse 4 that says, "He that sweareth to his own hurt and changeth not." This is the person that's going to be blessed. Do you know what that means? It means that when you make a promise, you keep it, even if it costs you something that you didn't expect or it costs you extra. Why? Because keeping your word, being a trustworthy person, is important, and it shows people that they can trust you. There's another side of honor your commitments, and that means to be on time, to show up, be dependable, let people know that you will be there, keep your commitments, putting others first. And that's something that's sadly lacking in our society as well. Going that extra mile, keeping your commitments. The second thing is that we need to have good communication skills. People need to know that they can trust you not to blurt things out, to speak aggressively or use aggressive words or to lie. They know that your communication is going to be right. Your words, the Bible says, are to be seasoned with salt, ministering grace to the hearers. So how graceful and well seasoned are your words? When others hear you, do they hear discretion and wisdom in your words so that they can trust you more? They even start sharing with you when they trust you more things, and you get the opportunity to speak even more truth to them. So your words and your communication skills make a big difference. My book, Talk Therapy, has a lot to say about these things. The third thing we can do is be a person who makes good and careful decisions, and that helps others to trust us. Not only do people want us to say the right things, they want to hear us talking right, they also want to see us doing right? Our words and our actions both speak. So we need to be making wise decisions, good decisions, conducting our lives well, and setting an example that others can follow. A haphazard life is not one that you can trust. Someone who's always changing, never stable. You can't trust that person. You need to be a person that someone can trust, because you're going to be stable and they will know what's going to happen next. Managing your life with good decisions and wisdom so that you won't lead people astray, and they will learn to trust you, and you will have that great blessing of their trust. Fourth, we need to be faithful and consistent. My daughter says her dad is the most consistent man she has ever known, and that's because he's had the same haircut all his life. But that's not the type of consistency that really builds trust necessarily. What we need to be is dependable, reliable, and steady. People need to know what they can expect from us and that are steady and consistent in everything that we do. We're not off again, on again. Yes, no, who knows, but we're faithful and consistent and we can be relied upon. The fifth thing is to be a good listener, and that builds trust. Everyone appreciates a person who listens well. And most people are annoyed by a person who butts in or interjects or speaks to call attention to themselves instead of patiently listening to what's being said. Listening is really a skill. You have to develop it, and very few people have it today. But if we want people to trust us, we need to show them that genuine interest where we will stop and listen carefully, and being a good listener is a great way to build trust. The sixth thing is we need to be willing to help others out. A trustworthy person sees a need and reaches out to meet that need. They don't turn a blind eye or walk away. They go that extra mile, and they're not afraid of a bit of hard work. Personally, I really appreciate this quality in people. Nothing is more beautiful to me than a person who shows their love by honest help and care. That person who will work alongside me earns my respect and trust much faster than the person that's trying to tell me what to do without lifting a finger. The seventh thing is to be transparent, to share your feelings honestly. Being transparent isn't about dragging all of your skeletons out of the closet. It's not about wearing your feelings on your sleeve. It's about being open and expressive enough that people don't have to guess what you feel or guess how you're going to react to a situation. Pretenders and fakers don't earn trust, and if they do, it's soon broken down when the other person realizes they've been duped. Sharing feelings with honesty goes along with good communication skills, and the trustworthy person knows that there's a time and a place for everything, and he will share at the appropriate time in the appropriate manner, and you can trust them to be genuine. The eighth way is to be willing to admit when we've made mistakes. And we all do that. We've all made mistakes. There's no reason to think otherwise. And people know when we've made a mistake. It's better to be honest enough to admit your failures than to damage your reputation by trying to hide them or run away from them. And the ninth way to build trust goes along with that, knowing how and when to ask forgiveness when you're wrong. Asking forgiveness is not just about saying, "I'm sorry," and walking away. It's about naming that offense, recognizing the hurt that's been caused, and taking full responsibility. It's about manning up, being a person of trust. And when people see this quality, they trust us even more because they know that we're willing to admit our failures and seek to make things right instead of burying things under the rug. The 10th way is by doing and saying what we believe in. And this is so important. If a person is always shifting and you don't know where they stand, how can you believe a word they say or a thing they do? So if you believe lying is wrong, then don't lie. If you believe cheating is wrong, then don't cheat. If you believe the Bible is true, then don't deny it in front of others. If you believe that Christ loved the church and died for it, then make the church a priority in your life. Live the way you say that you believe. And we could do a lot more discussion here, but be a person who does and says what they believe. The 11th thing is to be honest. And I think that just goes without saying because honesty carries through all of these so many times. Be an honest person, a person people can trust with their money, with their possessions, with their family, with their job. Be honest. It never hurts, does it? It never hurts to be honest. And 12th, be genuine. Don't hide behind a false mask or try to create a person that you're not. Don't be one of those fakers. God created you in His image, so live that out, whatever that might be. And don't be something or someone that you're not. That will only lead to the bottom falling out of your world and the total loss of trust with others and even with yourself. In this day when there are so few things that we can genuinely trust and believe, let's be people of character. Let's strive to be upstanding citizens and show the world that Christ can make a difference by being a person that they can trust. I'll see you next week.